So, I've been making a game about depression, and I know how that sounds. Like I'm trying to pitch you the saddest walking simulator you've ever played. And I'll be the first to admit, that was the idea. At least at first. But weirdly, this has turned into one of the most gamey things I've built in a long time. Because the core idea is simple. In this world, words are physical. They hit you, they chase you, they take space, they hurt. And the only way that you can fight back is with words too. In this video, I'll show you where this game started and why I almost abandoned it, the systems that actually made it fun, and what the game is becoming now, room by room, run by run, one more step at a time. So, the origin of this game was from an idea I had a while ago while entering a game jam. The jam theme was words, and I thought, okay, what if typing a word is the action? Like you type get up and the character gets up. You type open the curtains and they move to open the curtains. You type pack clothes away and, well, you get the idea. It was meant to be a short, linear, story-driven thing where you didn't really have control over what your words did in the game, you just followed the instructions. Simple, contained, emotional, and I worked in it for like a day and a half. And then I dropped it. Not because it was too deep, but because I convinced myself that I should be using my time better on something more practical, which in hindsight is hilarious because isn't that how procrastination works sometimes? It just shows up dressed as productivity. Fast forward a few months after this game jam, and this little project is just sitting in the back of my brain. And then I decide, alright, 2 weeks, I'm making this, no overthinking, just build it and check it out. A few days in, I hit the wall. It wasn't fun. It was functional. It was interesting in a way that a prototype is interesting. But it didn't have a loop, no real tension, no reason to keep playing. And that's when I realized, if I want this to work as a game, not just as a concept, something has to change. So I asked myself, I'm a gamer, what do I do moment to moment that creates pressure and relief and progression? And that's when the idea really clicked. If words can hurt you, then words should be something you can fight. Not metaphorically, literally. And the idea really just took off from there. Suddenly words became enemies. They weren't just text on the screen, they were objects. They move, they attack, they take space in the world. And the next obvious question was, how do you fight words? The answer? Obviously with a gun. A gun that shoots words. So I built a weapon system where typing fuels your attacks, typing is your attacks. And suddenly the game wasn't just type what the game tells you. It became react, choose, aim, and survive. I added things like basic shooting, certain defense options like shields, more aggressive tools like missiles and bombs. And the moment that those systems started interacting, started talking to each other, movement, typing, and timing, it stopped becoming a typing demo and actually started to feel like a game, albeit a really bad one. Now, because the game is about depression at the end of the day, I didn't want the health system to just be, here's a bar, don't let it hit 0. Or here's a number, don't let it hit 0. In this game, I decided to instead represent your health as hope. Because hope isn't just about surviving hits. Hope changes the way that you experience everything in life, So as hope drops, the world itself changes. The easiest place to start with this was lighting. Obviously, the brighter when you're okay and darker when you're not. But it very quickly became a bigger idea than this. When you lose hope, it affects your perception of reality, of the world around you. So shouldn't the game visually reflect that constantly? So this is where things got more complicated. Because beyond the lighting, I wanted the typography itself to shift with your hope level. Not just a UI trick, but the world itself changes personality textually. My first thought was simply variable fonts. And then I realized that I hadn't even changed the basic font of the game up to this point, and realized that I was really not the best person to be choosing fonts. So why not just choose all of them? I decided to implement multiple fonts, that way I didn't have to choose. It worked, but I needed to change them. At first I tried a crossfade, and that kind of worked, but it just didn't feel right. It was too obvious, it was too simple. What I actually wanted was font morphing, like the letters themselves transforming. So I started messing around with some shaders and SVG rendering to blend the shapes. In the beginning, it caused this really nasty border effect at first because one font was just basically living inside the other. But after a bit of tinkering, a bit of changing, I finally got it to work. And now I can shift between multiple fonts across different hope states: high hope, middle hope, low hope, and then into despair, and finally rupture. So what is the game actually about? Story-wise, the original concept was a person trapped in a house trying to escape, but not really knowing where escape even was. The core of that is still there. I'm not going to spoil the story because that is honestly half of the game, but as the systems grew, I needed to give the game room to breathe. I needed more space. So now it suddenly became about fighting through spaces, mental spaces, physical spaces, where words are both the enemy and the tool and not just a typing simulator. When you're trying to move forward, the only thing you can use are things that you can control, like your language, the words. And the vibe I'm aiming for is, it's not meant to be inspirational. It's not dark for the sake of it. It's not expressing depression as this overwhelming evil. But it's just a reflection of the perception of depression and how it works and how words can impact that and influence that. I'm not going to get too much in it in this video. There's going to be other videos for that, but this is the introduction to the concept. So onto the title of One More. The thing is that obviously it's quite a simple concept of just one more step, one more day, one more word, one more try. And to implement this as well as I could, I decided that in this game you don't die. When you fail, you get sent back. Because you failing, you dying isn't game over. The point is that you tried, you fell apart, you failed, and you came back. And so each time you come back, you learn something, you get stronger. Every time you restart, you get an upgrade, you get something to choose, because you have learned something, you've grown stronger. Even when you fail, you've gained, you're not starting from zero emotionally. Even if the run resets mechanically, you're just not starting from zero again. And of course, suddenly out of nowhere, it's a roguelike. You really try not to make a roguelike, but really, you just can't avoid it. But regardless, in this case, I think it actually does really match the structure for once, which is rare, but usually roguelikes are just, congratulations, you died, here's a new hat. But this time it's actually, hey, you decided to come back again and to try again. Well done. Let's get them this time. You've gotten stronger, you've gotten better, you've learned something. Let's get them this time. So now I'm building this game more deliberately, and we're looking at what's next. The next big step is actual genuine progression. Currently, I only have one room in which it's a testing room. Now we need room by room progression. Each room is going to have its own enemy setup, different pacing, different bosses, different ways of attacking it. I was kind of inspired by It Takes Two in the way that they really changed the gameplay style over level by level. And so I'm really trying to emulate that in making each different room a different experience. So difficulty really starts to ramp up in a way that I can control, but also still keep you on your toes and keep it fun. This then moves on to characters. I have got an idea for a character. Currently the character is just a ball, but I've got an idea for a character that came from my wonderful wife Gabby, and I am really excited to sketch it out and to bring it into the game. Can't wait to show you guys. It's going to be really cool. It was such a great idea. After that, I'll be moving into UI and upgrade presentation. So obviously with a standard roguelike structure, we'll need upgrade cards rather than just clicking floating numbers, a clearer run structure, and some kind of progression system that doesn't punish you for trying to build something specific. That last one is really important, because I really hate roguelikes where the game can see what you're building. They know you're building a stealth archer, a stealth sniper, and then they offer you, like, magic spells, and you're just like, come on, why would you do that? Nothing. It's like, you know, would you rather like something that is useless or something that won't help you at all? It's like, which one would you like? So I want to avoid this entire structure. So my current plan is you will get your standard roguelike structure of receiving 3 upgrade cards, choose what you like, you have a chance to re-roll, obviously depending on what your upgrades are, but then you will still have the option to choose whatever upgrade that you want. The curated upgrades are going to be worth double, so you'll receive 2 upgrades for choosing one that pops up on a card, and you will only receive 1 upgrade for choosing your own upgrade. That way there is a benefit to playing this roguelike structure, however you're not punished for not receiving a card and you have to start the run again. At the same time as well, I'm also the kind of person that likes to unlock everything, and so in this game you will be able to. You're not permanently locked out of upgrades just because you picked a +2 shield in hour number 1. I'm not gonna do that to you, don't worry, I won't betray you. You're gonna be able to unlock everything, so even if you pick the +2s or the +1s, you will still be able to get everything, just it'll determine the time that it would take for you to get there. So, this is where the game is right now. It started out as a small typing-based story concept. We just followed through a story, a linear story. It wasn't fun, so I changed it into something more physical. Words as enemies, words as weapons, and hope as a system that changes the world. It's not just a health number. And now it's becoming a real structure. Rooms, runs, upgrades, characters, something that you can actually carry a story with. If there's one thing I want this game to capture, it's that progress doesn't have to be heroic. Sometimes it's just one more attempt, one more step, one more try. So, if this is something that you would enjoy, something that you'd like to follow, subscribe and hit the bell notification, and I'll be here for the next one. And I hope you will be too. See you in the next video.